Right, we're going to go back over today's trading in the markets on the S&P, and I took a trade today. It was a very small win. It was like 4 points, and yeah, pretty much closed it early after invalidation of my trade idea. So profit profited £43.85. But yeah, we're going to go over the moves. We're going to go over potential setups. The initial setups I was looking for, and my reason for getting into the trade today. So to start off, looking at actually no, let's just start on the S&P. So pretty much from yesterday, we've seen price moving up in a nice buy model. And yeah, pretty much on the 1 hour time frame, we've got this high, and this was what I was looking to get taken today. Obviously, bear in mind we do have all of this imbalance down here, and price has shown that it does want to go lower. So pretty much started the day normally, marked out the 8 a.m. 15-minute candle with the midpoint. Don't know why it's so zoomed out. I'm going to take this off. So just for reference, we are also near the previous daily high, just here. So there is incentive for price to move down there. So just going to take that off so it looks a bit easier on the eye. Right. So pretty much from London, we didn't take the London high. London took the Asia high. New York didn't take the London high. So we had the Asia low and the New York PM low from yesterday, alongside, these imbalances down here. And pretty much from 9:30 open, I was looking for a retest to go short, but I was initially bullish because I wanted to see this high get taken, even though, it just got tapped here. So I guess, it doesn't really need to, but it was more so because price, we had this high up here, but then again, price come up into this imbalance on the NASDAQ and rejected from it. So yeah, we'll get into pretty much, let's just take candles off. So 9:30, as you can see, pretty much price had a quick wick upwards after manipulating down, filled this imbalance, which was a 15-minute inverse fair value gap, and yeah, pretty much just went down from there. Swept the Asia low, had this volume imbalance here. I was just looking at price action around this point. This was like around the area where I entered. But before we get into the actual trade, we'll go into the 1 minute. So we were looking for the break and retest target, like a 2.88 to 1. We didn't get that. And then the optimal trade with this model would have been, it would have been in this inverse fair value gap to go short. But you can see this trade here. I didn't take this, but I just sort of marked it out as like, notes. Would that be a possible entry? Considering we've already had the wick upwards, we filled this inverse fair value gap, we've rejected off of it, created the fair value gap in a 1 minute here, and price came in here, 6985 would have been the entry, and 6988. So that would have been 3 points. It's a very tight stop. But that would have been lovely to target this candle's low, basically. And within 2 minutes, that had happened. Also got a retracement from this. And yeah, that could have been another entry there to target, this same low, or even further down, in line with this volume imbalance and PM low. So there was quite a few sell side draws today, and there was more sell side draws than there was buy side draws, and that is one of the reasons why market sold off. Also Tuesday reversal after a big move up on the Monday, and you know, bearish fundamentals at the moment. So those were the two initial movements that I was looking at. And as I put in my notes here, or wherever they are, all the way down here. So I went for a bounce. I went with the bounce model. So we're just gonna get into that. And pretty much, I was waiting for the 5-minute candle to close above here to respect this level, and on the 1-minute chart. So my entry was actually here. We'll remove this for now. Remove these for now. So this was the trade. You know, a few candle closures above this high, and yeah, entered long here to target this this high, but you know, obviously we'd have partials at certain points. First being maybe this inverse fair value gap, second being this here, but it seemed a bit unlikely. And one of my reasons for going long was because the US30 manipulated down and had a massive push upwards towards this high here on the hourly, as you can see, on the 4-hour. So that's what I was initially expecting to see on the NASDAQ, on the S&P, was just the manipulation down and a move up. But in line with the model, we saw the break down from the 8:15, the 8 o'clock candle, and the retracement. So that switched my bias a little bit, but because US30 was so bullish, I was anticipating at least something in terms of a retracement or a reversal here. And yeah, so we had the, like I say, we had the 5-minute candle closure, and then that candle up. And at 9:49, so I got in 9:47. So within 2 minutes, I had my stop at break even. I was looking for this to get inversed and, you know, potentially continue up from there. But at the time, where are we? 9:49. I saw this taking place on the NASDAQ, and it just looked very bearish, and I just decided to close early for 4 points. So that was on this candle coming down here. So I just got out, secured £43. The full order would have looked like this. £121 stop to 277 TP. And you know, it's one of those, I'm not mad about it. I'm not I'm happy with it, but it's like, you know, there's not really much emotion in it. It's just like, it is what it is. So yeah, that was the trade. And then as you can see from here, price continued downwards in this bearish trend. So in terms of my notes as well, I closed after seeing the bearish sentiment on US100, and I was aware that it was a riskier trade due to my lack of data on this like bounce and rejection model. It's more for scalping. So that was one of the reasons why I moved my stop so early. And I was a bit more active in my decision to take profits than I would normally be with the break and retest. So yeah, I also made a note that you can see this wick traded up to the Asia low in line with the market structure after this displacement down, and then continued downwards. So going forward, if I am going to take a model like this, I can do the rejection, like the bounce like that, but I just have to be aware that it is higher risk, and, you know, potentially waiting for a fair value gap, although we did get one here, or break a structure the other way and then a fair value gap or something like that, or an inverse, to act as my entry rather than just getting in here, because it exposed me to more risk than I needed to be exposed to today. And yeah, so a little bit lucky, also, like, you know, a little bit more risk averse. So Yeah, that was pretty much the trade today. It's very quick, in and out. But ultimately, we could have done a little bit better. I just wanted to see this wick come up a bit higher, so that's why I didn't go short here. If I had a limit, well, I had a limit order placed at the midpoint. So if price had come back up here, then it would have been lovely on the way down. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. And you can see here on the NASDAQ, it just completely dropped going into the open. So there wasn't really much opportunity on the NASDAQ. Yeah, like tiny pullback and then just sell off. That was it. Maybe on a 15-minute, even on a 15-minute, like we got slight wick up into the Asia low, the PM low even, and then continuation down. But yeah, it's one of those. Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, we do have a bunch of buy orders down here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see price come down into this zone, maybe sweep it. But yeah, ultimately that's about it for today. You can see I made a note up here, no retest at the midpoint at 9:30. And yeah, we've got a lot of imbalance down in the London session from Monday. Tuesday, is it Wednesday already? Fuck, it is Wednesday. So yeah, it's just one of those. Like I say, we secured 4 points today and £43.85. So I'm not mad about it. Puts us up to about £45 profit on the week, just from my break even and the early close. So there are still improvements, but nonetheless there are still positives to take away from this. I was able to identify when my setup was invalidated and just got out. But that's not to say, you know, it's possible that price could have very easily just gone straight down from here. So there's a little bit of luck involved, and there's also a little bit of active trade management involved. So it's sort of a balance today. I feel like I'm sort of repeating myself, but yeah, just reinforcing it, trying to figure out what went on. And in terms of the gold move that I marked out on Monday, you can see we're pretty much on our way here. And as we saw, I think last week when I think it was last Friday morning, like very early in the morning, like 1 a.m., where we saw price come down. I could have taken a short through the fair value gap, not here, but like a bit further back. I'm not sure where it was. I've deleted the drawings now, but I got a video on that. Saw a similar sort of thing where, you know, we get the break and then price trades back down and then makes its move up. So that's interesting to note on gold as a trait. A couple times I've seen it now. I'm going to keep an eye out for it just so I can build and collect a bit more data on it and gradually just develop my strategy for gold and build a bit more confidence. Although at this point it's not massively necessary, but it's just nice to have that extra information just for future trading. So yeah, like I say, we've got this order block here. It depends what price does. We'll have another look tomorrow. What are we tomorrow? Thursday. Feb 4th. Or is it Tuesday today? It is Tuesday today. Why is it saying Wednesday? What? Ignore me. I've completely had one. Here. Monday, Tuesday. Yeah. Ignore me. It's been very busy today at work. So, yeah, Wednesday, maybe an expansion. But yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. So tomorrow we got non-farm employment change. I'm not sure what it works. So I think estimated change in number of employed people during the previous month, excluding farm and industry and government. Actuals greater than forecast. So ideally we want to see an increase here to get some bullish movement, but it all depends, as we know from last week. Where was it? I think it was Thursday last week. Unemployment claims were higher than expected, and that was very bearish after FOMC. So yeah, we just got to keep an eye on that tomorrow. I might take a day out and then just come back on, or maybe, well, it'll be tomorrow or Thursday, depending on what's going on, really. And then Friday, obviously, no trading there. So yeah, overall, we'll take the win. It was a small win, but you know, it's better than nothing. Not going to complain, and it's better than losing 120 quid. But at the same time, just got to be aware that when I'm not following the model and I'm using a different model that is something I don't have as much data on, I am opening myself to more risk, and it's as simple as that. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for me today. And with all that being said, I will catch you tomorrow.